obviously the Fatima Center, and I was very intrigued when you called me up because there certainly, I think, is a strong connection between the Fatima Center and just the Carmelite Order in general, the Fatima message. Um, a few reasons, and I'll just list them, and then if you'd like, you can comment on any of them. But perhaps the most important is because on October 13th, 1917, during the miracle of the sun, which Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta didn't actually witness, they actually witnessed these three beautiful visions that Our Lady gave them that represented the three sets of mysteries, the joyful, glorious, and joyful, sorrowful, and glorious. And for example, in the sorrowful, she appeared as Mater Dolorosa, and in the glorious, she appeared vested as Our Lady of Mount Carmel, holding out the scapular, the brown scapular, to the whole world. And Sister Lucia did understand by that, the way Our Lady held it out to them, that she wanted everyone to wear the brown scapular. So in this sense, Our Lady wants everyone to, have at least that connection to the Carmelite life and to the Carmelite order and to the graces that the Carmelite order wins for the world, and therefore really therefore wearing the brown scapular is really a part of living the message of Fatima as Our Lady has requested it. Father Howard Rafferty famously made an interview where he talked to Sister Lucia about that in her monastery, and she said that yes, this was one of the things that living the message of Fatima was. So there's always that connection. Obviously, Sister Lucia, after going through her own difficulties in becoming a nun and the suppression of the Carmelites in Portugal and her having to flee to Spain and try to be part of the Dorotheans that were more active, eventually she did get back to being a Carmel, and she spent most of her life at a Carmelite in Coimbra, Portugal. So we have that strong connection, and Father Gruner, our founder, would lead many pilgrims there to that Carmelite monastery. And then also just the founder, Prophet Elias. I mean, I think he's very significant for the message of Fatima with his flaming sword that he's always depicted. We see that in the angel, in the third vision of Fatima. He's kind of a prophet of the end times. We're clearly near the end of an age right now. And then also he battled those pagan idol demons, which really are the same demons that are promoting the errors of Russia right now that Our Lady came to warn us about. So perhaps out of all the religious orders, whether they be Jesuits, Dominicans, Franciscans, all, with their wonderful charisms that God has given the church, I think the message of Fatima is perhaps most closely connected to the Carmelite life.
Yes, that's also what I've meditated on so much, and I believe that too. And that was what always struck me growing up, especially discerning my vocation to be a Carmelite nun, because my family is very devoted to Our Lady of Fatima, and our religious community is also very devoted to Our Lady of Fatima. And the teachings of Father Gruner, that was very big, especially when he would talk about those points of the visions of Fatima, and especially that vision of October 13th when she appears as Our Lady Mount Carmel to Sister Lucia. I was always meditating on, I think this is the prophecy that Saint Dominic once spoke of, that Our Lady will save the world one day through the scapular and the Rosary. And because she comes at Fatima to tell us to pray the Rosary every day. And now she's witnessed as Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And so I think this is the moment that is the beginning of what St. Dominic had prophesied. And also, I think that's something that had inspired Sister Lucia to become a Carmelite nun, because I think she knew the connection. I think that was a reason that she felt the call to be a Carmelite nun. This is my own personal surmising. And so that always...
For what reason? It makes sense.
Yeah, it inspired me too, because I was like, if Sister Lucia is going to be a Carmelite nun, maybe I'm on the right track about my discernment. So we really appreciate when we pray to the Carmelite saints, we can pray to Sister Lucia, Venerable Sister Lucia, to help us. And then when you mentioned Saint, we call him Holy Father Saint Elias, because Teresa of Avila was very emphatic that we come all the way back before the time of Christ to Saint Elias. That is the history of Carmel. And there's one particular story that about Saint Elias I wanted to share, that in the oral traditions of Carmel, we discussed that the time when Saint Elias was praying for rain to come because there was a drought of about 7 years or so. And he told his attendant to go look towards the sea and tell me if rain is coming. And he had his head down waiting. And, he comes and goes 7 times. And on the 7th time, that is when the attendant comes back to say, I see a cloud. And in traditional translations, it's a cloud in the form of a foot. Other translations, they say a man's hand. But the Carmelites, it's in the form of a foot. And the oral tradition of Carmel is that Saint Elias was inspired to know that this symbol is related to, in Genesis, the woman and the serpent. The woman will crush your head. And this is a symbol of the coming of the mother of the Redeemer, because this little cloud ends up producing a downpour of rain, and the rain is supposed to represent the graces. So Our Lady, mediatrix of all graces, that is the symbolism that the Carmelites we teach through the centuries. This is the meaning of it. And this is one part of the beginning of why Saint Elias and the monks, the hermits who followed him on Mount Carmel, would pray for the coming of the mother of the Redeemer. They were inspired that this is their charism, what they would pray for. And so eventually, the coming of Christ and the establishment of the Catholic Church, they did convert, and they became the Carmelite Order that is what we are today.
No, that's wonderful. If anyone is interested in that reference the sister just made, that's coming from the third book of Kings in your Douay Rheims Bible. I believe it's chapter 18, towards the end. So 3 Kings 18.